Whether it's super strong mechanical arms, exploding pumpkin bombs, or giant sand monster avatars, Spider-Man No Way Home is going to throw some of the web-slingers rogues gallery's most intimidating powers at the MCU's wall crawler. And while no one will be surprised to see an impromptu lightning storm or even a detached tail featured in the latest Spidey film, there's a chance we could see the villains expand their powerful portfolios for what is looking like the biggest movie since the start of the pandemic. I'm hoping so. Anyway, reading about another MCU box office smash would give me some comforting feelings of normalcy. And while I won't be trolling and treating Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange as one of Spider-Man's villains, I already did that, Spidey's regular trove of antagonists are holding enough hidden abilities to surprise even an experienced comics aficionado. So, fire up that neural link between you and your mechanical arms and enjoy 15 hidden abilities of Spider-Man villains. Dr. Octopus fits nicely as one of Spider-Man's sad scientist villains. He, just like Kurt Connors, Michael Morbius, Norman Osborn, etc., had good, or at least non-nefarious intentions, but by treating themselves as test subjects, they lost everything and became monsters. For Otto Octavius, that meant being fused to 4 super strong mechanical arms that he can move with a thought. But the neural link between Doc Ock and his machine arms is even stronger than fans might realize, as Octavius can control the arms remotely, so even if these doctors were able to separate poor, defenseless Otto from his metal arms, he'd still be able to make them come crawling back. Or perhaps he'd come crawling back to them. Honestly, it's not super clear who is in charge in this relationship. Marvel loves a good super soldier story. It seems like every new super strong character the MCU introduces was some failed super soldier experiment trying to recreate the one that made Steve Rogers Captain America through some treatment or serum. It's easy to forget, but Green Goblin also fits into this mold, as in the first Raimi Spidey movie, Willem Dafoe's Norman Osborn was selling the Goblin formula to the US government to create super soldiers. That's when Norman famously tried the serum on himself, and the rest is Power Ranger looking history. And the Goblin gets the full suite of super soldier abilities like heightened senses, super strength, durability, and even regenerative healing. Now, Norman wouldn't give Wolverine a run for his money in the healing department, but his enhanced physical recuperation enables him to trade blows with Spider-Man and bounce back more quickly after he's been injured. Perhaps even
from Ms. Gilder.
Okay, it's Glider, that's right, Glider.
Electro is back, and he's not blue, okay? So everybody just please relax, especially you.
How you like the new?
Nope, in No Way Home, Jamie Foxx's Max Dillon is more regular looking. Good job, very brave. Though he did keep the perfect teeth, thanks heel dentists, and seems to be using some Stark tech to channel his abilities. Electro's most common powers are probably hurling lightning bolts and traveling along electrical wires, which I've always been really jealous of because I hate airports. And he has often been used by other villains like Doc Ock to do more hands-on electrical manipulation, like ionizing metals, for example. But a power that he really should be using more is disrupting Spidey's wall crawling abilities. This is a super cool and useful thing that Electro can do, especially if he combines it with breaking Spidey's web shooters as he's done in the past. That's a long way down. But I gotta say, all my experiences with electricity make things stick to me, but I'm not a scientist or an eel expert. I got a feeling no one on this movie was an eel expert. So you know how sand, you know how sand is impossible to get out of your shoes? Well, the writers over at Marvel Comics must have taken this attribute to the extreme because the Sandman is super, super difficult to get rid of. In fact, according to the comics, Flint Marko is basically immortal and able to survive in the harshest environments, even outer space. I guess that makes sense given the character is made entirely of sand, which is basically, hey, stop it. And I mean, I guess if Marko is unable to best Spider-Man using his giant mallet hands, then he could always wait him out? So I enjoyed the Amazing Spider-Man movies and would have happily continued watching Andrew Garfield's web-slinger in more films, insert ironic comment about No Way Home here, but there was a moment during The Amazing Spider-Man 1 that I was incredibly disturbed. During the lizard's attack on Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy's high school, Spider-Man grabs onto Doc Connor's tail, which naturally falls off like a real lizard, you guys, and ultimately grows back. Oh god, do I need to censor this? I wish instead the film could have spent more time on one of Lizard's lesser known powers, his ability to talk to and even control reptiles. I mean, a guy who can command the fabled New York sewer gators, he'd be unstoppable. And hey, is there anything more terrifying to a spider than, like, say, a gecko? It all works, you guys. Why don't they let me make these movies? Oh, right. I lack the very basic skills. I knew that there was a sticking point.
That is disgusting.
Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, is probably the best-known geriatric villain in all of comics. Despite being one of the oldest villains around, he still boasts an array of abilities that enable him to go toe-to-toe with the Webslinger. His Vulture harness, in addition to giving him the ability to fly silently and with precision, also enhances his strength and durability, especially after the harness was upgraded by the Green Goblin. Spidey villains gotta stick together, man. But even though those are pretty impressive powers, Toomes' most impressive feat has nothing to do with Vulture-like abilities at all. Starting in the Amazing Spider-Man number 386 back in 1994, the Vulture, through various comic book yada-yada-ing, but hey, who cares, we love it, becomes young again, even curing himself of the cancer he had at the time. Combined with a fancy suit redesign, old Vulture went on a revenge tour, killing anyone who wronged him when he was an old man. He would eventually return to being old, but hey, this is the comics. As long as the world doesn't end, you guys, I'm looking at you. I have no doubt that Adrian will once again be a young man flying through the skies of New York City. Ever since MCU fans peeked at Matt Gargan in Spider-Man Homecoming, we've been waiting for the natural enemy of a spider to make his costume debut. While we haven't seen the green arachnid on the big screen in his full glory just yet, his origin is entertaining enough to be worth the wait. Gargan was a private investigator hired by J. Jonah Jameson to see how Peter Parker got such great pics of Spider-Man. I'd be curious too. No shade, JJ. Gargan wasn't able to catch Peter in the act thanks to his spider sense, and so they decided to do the obvious thing. Just try some casual genetic modification. While the process made him have to wear either a special scorpion suit or the Venom symbiote, which he did for quite a while in the comics, because he was so genetically unstable. It did give him your basic swath of super soldier type abilities, but with one notable addition: a superhuman grip. Just like, you guessed it, say it with me everybody, a scorpion.
People are always doing that.
Though it doesn't look like Gargan has that ability in Spider-Man Homecoming, seeing as he couldn't keep his little pincers on the ferry. It looked like Mysterio died at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. Or did he? But he could have come out on top if he took advantage of a lesser-known ability the villain wields in the comics. Sure, Mysterio uses stagecraft to confuse Spider-Man, which in the 60s meant smoke and springs on his boots, and today means a fleet of holographic murder drones. And if that evolution doesn't make you want to crawl up into a ball, then your emotional durability intimidates me. Or does it? No, stop. No, in the comics, Mysterio has a sonar device that jams spider sense. I mean, we saw what happened between the two of them when the Peter Tingle was offline. I feel like if he had that device, then Mysterio probably wins. Or does he? Sorry, we better just go to the next one. He's not gonna stop. Venom is your favorite Spider-Man villain. Nope, I'm sorry, Venom is your favorite, because if he currently isn't your favorite, then you must not know this thing I'm about to tell you. In Marvel Knights Spider-Man number 8, the symbiote's host at the time, Angela Fortunato, the son of a crime boss in New York, has just been badly beaten by Spider-Man, so he takes off running across the rooftops, as one does, to escape the web-slinger. The symbiote, calling Angelo a coward, detaches from him mid-air, letting him fall to his death. It makes very clear the dynamic, which is part of the reason Venom is so much fun. Even though it needs a host, it's clear that when attached, the symbiote is the one in charge. Dr. Mikey Morbius won't be sporting his super not disturbing at all hand suckers when Jared Leto plays the character in 2022, but it looks like he could have an advantage that Morbius enjoys in the comics. The clue is in his very cool subtitle. Morbius, the living vampire. I want a subtitle. Can someone give me a subtitle like Liam the worst Screen Rant video guy? See, even though Morbius does crave blood, which he can easily obtain using super strength, speed, and very long, sharp murder teeth, he doesn't have an aversion to garlic or crucifixes, and he can go out in the daytime. So he doesn't have any of those like classic universal monster weaknesses. So you'd forgive the Shocker if he was feeling inadequate. Everyone's always making fun of him and saying he looks like a walking quilt, and he's sort of just a Sinister Six filler type villain and stuff like that. Then the guy who isn't actually the Shocker but is acting like the Shocker gets incinerated in his third scene in the movie, and even the front of the Shocker's first appearance is a little defensive, like, relax, man. We are glad you are here. But you'd understand if we take the assertion of Herman Schultz, who it should be clear is the Shocker who shockingly ended up shocked with the Shocker gear as the Shocker. I was shocked. It's him who claims that he is the world's best safecracker. Feels a little out of left field, but I am willing to go with it because honestly, I don't think he needs more stress in his life. Got beat by Ned too. Like, you think the Vulture is gonna get beat by Ned? I think about the moment when the Paul Giamatti Megazord thing starts galloping on all floors far more often than I'd care to admit. I'm just like thinking about what a whole movie of that would have been like. Anyway, the comic Rhino is nothing like that. The villain's armor was originally this polymer type substance that was tough, just like the hide of a, take a big breath and say it with me, an elephant.
I wish I could think of brilliant plans like that.
But the hide wasn't removable, which makes me itchy just thinking about it, permanently bonded to the giant fellow. But like, what if it gallops all the way down Fifth Avenue? Could you imagine that? I've also got some super secret behind the scenes footage of the Rhino in action. Enjoy. Wow. Incredible. So if you're in the future and Kingpin is confirmed in Hawkeye's Disney Plus show, then good for you and glad you got some resolution on that. I am here in the past and we don't know yet, although the signs really seem to be pointing to Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk making appearance as Echo's quote-unquote uncle. Kingpin does adopt Echo in the comics, so there you go. Kingpin's fighting prowess and strength range from above average but feasible to almost certainly meta-human-y in some way, while Netflix's Daredevil's Kingpin seems more like a regular non-super powered dude. In other iterations, he goes toe-to-toe with Spider-Man or even Captain America. His often dual identities as a mob boss and a supervillain are at play in Daredevil number 171, when it's revealed that Kingpin has a vault door so heavy that only he can open it. So this strategy would definitely work on most people, but like anyone on this list could probably get that thing open. And Spider-Man. But not Daredevil. Gotcha. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare myself for a comment section backlash, but I always thought that Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, had no powers and was just a Catwoman-y uber gymnast type person. But I was researching for this video, I know, it's a shock, and discovered that in the 80s she got bad luck powers, like she can alter probability fields, which is a thing I can say but not understand, and create bad luck for people nearby. I did not know this. So like Domino, kind of? Yeah, like Domino. Kind of. Mr. Negative is a new Spidey villain, making his first appearance just in 2007, actually on Free Comic Book Day, which is fun. But he's coming on strong as a huge part of the 2018 Spider-Man video game and with several strong arcs in the comics. If you've played the game, you know that Mr. Negative can make people be big meaties, but as Martin Lee, his touch actually heals. In fact, Lee cured Eddie Brock of his cancer and synthesized with Eddie's body and the remnants of the Venom symbiote to create a new symbiote, Anti-Venom. It's sort of like as Martin Lee, he just exudes really good vibes, you know? Just like chill vibes. You never know when a member of Spidey's Rogues Gallery might whip out a new power or ability, huh? I wonder if we'll see any super-powered surprises in Spider-Man No Way Home, like Venom just bailing on a host in midair, or Electro disrupting Spider-Man's wall crawling. I'm gonna try and avoid the big spoilers as much as possible, but that might require a superhuman effort all on its own. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Or will I?